Welcome to Movie Recall. In today's video, we will be going through the 2021 movie Love Hard. It's time to recall. Let's get started, turn on subtitles, and spoilers ahead. The movie begins with Natalie Bauer, who is a dating column writer living in Los Angeles. And just like most people, she's on the lookout for her soulmate. But in the 21st century, love doesn't come that easy, especially if you add online dating into the mix. Natalie has been on numerous dates, all of which have been a disaster of one kind or another. We see Natalie getting ready for a date with a guy who seems suitable until she arrives to find him very much changed in the present day. Another time, she had a date with a guy which seemed to be going well until the guy's wife and kids arrived. Natalie says she often thinks of giving up, but then someone like Ted shows up and offers to take her on a sunset sail. But when she turns up, he never shows up. It's been years since she has been looking for her other half, but with no success. She is sad that everyone out there has found a match except for her, but the one silver lining of this situation is that she's turned her disastrous love life into a successful writing career. Apparently, people love to read about how she can't find love. Not making her life easy is her boss, who has no problem making money off of Natalie's disaster dates and in fact encourages her. Even though Natalie is open to trying to write something more upbeat, her boss knows that an article about a bad date will be more beneficial for him and shoots down her suggestion. Natalie's co-worker suggests that Natalie widen her radius from LA and takes her phone to set the radius for the entire country. Carrie then goes on to grab herself and Natalie a drink, and Natalie reminds her not to get kiwi in hers as she is allergic. That night, as Natalie returns home, she drags a Christmas tree up her apartment and sets it up. She then goes through the profiles that show up in her app, and after rejecting a few guys who don't seem to be it, she finds one that intrigues her. The guy is named Josh and is good-looking enough. He also doesn't seem like a creep or obsessed with getting laid. She messages him, starting a conversation based on his favorite Christmas movie, and they get to talking. They instantly hit it off, and it appears that Josh is charming and funny, and that both of them have a similar sense of humor. After texting with him all night, Natalie tells Carrie, her co-worker, about the guy. Carrie is on board but tells Natalie to be careful and to not commit unless the guy sends her a picture holding up that day's newspaper. Soon, Carrie starts to dial Josh's number and Natalie tries to get back her phone. In the struggle that ensues, the phone falls to the ground and a few moments later, Josh picks up the call. He says that it sounds like a fun party, and Natalie immediately apologizes and makes up a story about accidentally calling him after tripping. Josh makes a witty remark about how he's flattered that he is her emergency contact despite being 3 hours away on a plane, and Natalie laughs nervously. After hanging up, Josh sends her a picture holding a sign that says, "Goodbye, Natalie," and this is enough to satisfy Carrie. Then there is a montage which shows us how over the next few days, Natalie and Josh continuously talk over texts and calls. Natalie tells Josh about her favorite Christmas movie being Die Hard, and when watching it, she imagines Josh sitting beside her. One day, Natalie comes across a picture of her mother in a Christmas tree bauble and tells Josh later that night how when her mother was alive, she would read to her when Natalie was unable to sleep. Natalie says there is nothing better in the world, and immediately, Josh begins to recite a poem to her. Touched, Natalie relaxes and soon falls asleep. When she wakes up the next morning, Josh is still on the call, and she has a huge smile on her face. Later, as she's going in for work, she texts him that last night was great and that she wishes he lived closer. Josh agrees, saying that he wishes she was there with him for Christmas. This puts an idea in Natalie's mind, and she immediately goes to see her boss. Natalie tells him about her idea of flying to Lake Placid, New York, and surprising the guy she has never met before. This won't be a disaster date article, but something fun, impulsive, and upbeat. Lee is not very enthused by the idea, but soon realizes that Natalie going to meet a guy she's never met before after traveling thousands of miles has a lot of potential to become a disaster date, and gives her the green light. And so Natalie flies all the way from LA to New York and arrives in Lake Placid. Right off the bat, things start going wrong, starting with the snowfall and Natalie not being dressed for the cold. Her luggage then fails to arrive, and her Uber driver turns out to be annoying. The guy recognizes the address as Josh Lynn's, saying that he knows the guy from when they used to smoke together in his basement. Natalie finally arrives at the Lynn house to find it decorated to the nines. Before she gets out of the car, Eric asks her to give Josh a joint. Natalie is weirded out by this but is too ecstatic to think much about it and goes up to the door. She is greeted by Josh's mom, Barb, who welcomes Natalie into the house, telling her that Josh will be home soon. There she meets Josh's father and grandmother, telling them that she is Josh's girlfriend-to-be. This makes the entire family extremely happy and also a bit surprised. The surprise is explained when Josh returns home and walks into the room. Natalie closes her eyes in anticipation, but when she opens them, Josh turns out to be Asian American, definitely not the person Natalie had been led to believe. Josh is shocked to see her there as Natalie runs out with an excuse to get her luggage. She can't believe that she flew all this way only to find out that she was being catfished all this time. She asks Josh about the picture with the message, and he sheepishly admits that he is good with Photoshop. She hits him with one of the decorative figurines and accuses him of being crazy for setting up a fake profile, and Josh retorts by asking her what kind of psycho shows up at a stranger's house unannounced. Fuming and humiliated, Natalie stalks away and ends up drinking at a bar. Then she gets another shock. She finds out that the guy who Josh was pretending to look like actually lives in the same town, as he walks into the same bar as hers. Reeling, Natalie stumbles to the bathroom and calls Carrie. Carrie is upset and sympathetic towards her friend about the catfish thing, but encourages Natalie to make a move on the cute guy she's seen in the bar. Highly motivated to make this night a success, Natalie goes back out and after drowning 2 shots for some liquid courage, gets up on stage for a karaoke session. But Natalie drinks someone else's drink at the bar in her enthusiasm, not knowing it contained kiwi. She starts to sing with her back to the crowd and everyone is initially impressed. However, once she turns around, her face is swollen up to unrecognition and all the seductive moves she's pulling off do not look good at all. Natalie grows bold enough to walk up to the cute guy and we see him get highly uncomfortable. Natalie soon catches a reflection in the mirror and, horrified, runs outside. Fortunately, Josh was also at the bar and watched the whole horror show go down and now rushes after her with her bag. He tries looking for her EpiPen, but Natalie passes out face down into the snow. When she wakes up, she is in a clinic surrounded by animal x-rays, which is unsettling and funny. Josh explains that they're in a vet clinic as the nearest hospital is 30 minutes away and he did not want to risk prolonging her shot for that long. After that, the two of them come to terms, and Josh explains that the guy he was pretending to be and the one who Natalie saw at the bar is named Tag. And Tag is not the guy to be impressed by an LA girl who throws herself at him. He is willing to help Natalie get together with Tag as they are childhood friends, but in turn, he wants her to pretend to be his girlfriend for the holiday. After Christmas, they will break up. Natalie agrees and the two return to the Lynn household to continue acting like they are together. The next day, Josh takes her to his father's shop where outdoor sporting gear is sold. Josh is planning on introducing Natalie to Tag as his cousin and gives her a few pointers on what kind of things Tag is into. Natalie acts accordingly so that when Tag shows up, she is dressed in humble but practical overalls and reading a book by Thoreau, a writer she knows nothing about and is not interested in. Tag is impressed by her reading tastes and is further intrigued when she tells him that she is into rock climbing just like him. He then invites her to a rock climbing gym, and it seems that things are going according to plan. After Tag leaves, Natalie turns to Josh, telling him that she has zero experience with rock climbing. Josh, being the good guy that he is, agrees to help her out and teaches her a few basics about rock climbing. From what we get to know about Josh, we find out that he can be a smartass and witty. He is a decent guy. Natalie and Josh get along well together, and Natalie is inevitably dragged into Josh's family drama. Natalie meets Owen, Josh's more successful, cooler, older brother, and his wife Chelsea. Owen is the stereotypical jerk who mocks Josh about being uncool, and Natalie later finds Josh sulking. She tells him that the next time Owen steals his spotlight, Josh should steal it right back. Natalie also starts being against Owen, and the two parties begin a polite hostility against each other amidst the festivities. While this is going on, Natalie keeps on getting texts from Lee about the piece on her disastrous date. The following day, Josh and Natalie go rock climbing with Tag, but Natalie freaks out when she sees how high they have to climb. As she starts to try and get out of the brace, Josh calms her down and encourages her. This works and Natalie is able to make the steady climb up to her own surprise, but once she turns back to see Josh and Tag, the sheer height triggers her fear of heights. Josh immediately rushes up to her while Tag is not looking and finds her curled up and shaking with fear. Once again, he calms her down, and once she looks better, pushes her back. Thankfully, she lands on her feet, impressing Tag. Later that night, Natalie takes part in Josh's family Christmas caroling traditions, which Owen takes very seriously. After the older brother and his wife perform a group number with some other family members, Josh jumps in with Natalie to sing a duet of Baby It's Cold Outside, which is usually done by Owen and Chelsea. Josh even accommodates Natalie's dislike of the song, which is about a guy forcing himself on a woman, and changes the lyrics as they sing along. Natalie is touched by his consideration and enjoys the duet while the whole family applauds. Afterwards, Owen cannot bear his lamer younger brother getting so much attention and chooses that moment to announce his wife's pregnancy. This takes the attention away from Josh, who is still caught up in competitiveness and does one better to get attention. He gets down on his knee and proposes to Natalie, with his grandmother June kindly offering up her ring for him to propose with. Natalie says yes to save face, but is later angry at Josh for proposing to her. Josh tells her that nothing changes their original agreement and they can simply break up later as planned. Later, Natalie learns of Josh's candle-making hobby, which he started to remember the scent of his grandfather after he died. He tells her that this is his dream, but he is scared to tell his father that he wants to leave the sports gear shop, while Natalie encourages him to pursue the candle-making business. As they're all watching Love Actually, a movie Natalie hates, Barb tells him that their engagement announcement is printed in the local newspaper. This makes the two spend the early morning picking up all the papers across town so Tag does not see the news. As they hide from the paperboy in the car, Natalie goes through Josh's real dating app profile and tells him to have more self-confidence and use pictures that better highlight his strengths. That night, vegetarian Natalie prepares to eat at a steakhouse on a date with Tag. Josh bitterly tells Natalie that she should not lie or compromise her beliefs for Tag. They fight when Natalie reminds him of his lie. When Natalie and Tag leave dinner, Tag admits that he stopped celebrating Christmas a long time ago. Natalie realizes that Tag is not the man she thought he was, and Tag kisses her. The next morning, Natalie and Josh are whisked away by June to answer a Q&A session about online dating to residents of a nursing home. The session quickly spirals into chaos when many of the resident attendees become interested in presenting false or misleading information about their disabilities and insecurities in order to attract potential partners. Josh makes a heartfelt speech about truth and honesty, reminding the residents to be true to who they are. During this, he appears to recognize his own feelings for Natalie, and Natalie, taken aback by his honesty, seems to recognize developing feelings as well. The residents disregard this and stop paying attention to Josh and Natalie, going on with their own lives. Josh appears distraught but has also recognized his feelings and a need to be honest and forthcoming with Natalie and others, even despite his own insecurities. The Lynn family throws Josh and Natalie a surprise engagement party at the steakhouse that Tag's family owns. Tag introduces Natalie to his parents as his girlfriend. Natalie's boss also shows up and tells Owen about Natalie's dating column. Owen tells Josh that Natalie is just with him for her next story. Natalie gives a speech telling the truth to everyone at the party, including Tag, and then leaves the Lynn household. When he returns home, he finds a note from Natalie, along with the engagement ring and his candles, encouraging him to pursue his passion. Josh's family is sympathetic to his heartbreak and consoles him. Josh's father then notices the candle smells just like Josh's grandfather and is very impressed. Josh tells his father that he no longer wants to run the family store and wishes to start a candle business, and to his surprise, his father is supportive of the idea. While waiting at the lodge overnight before her morning flight, Natalie sees Josh's new profile on the dating app, which highlights the real him. She realizes she is in love with Josh and returns to his house, recreating the scene from his favorite Christmas movie, Love Actually, and confessing her love for him. The two kiss as the movie comes to an end. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and click the bell icon to get new movie recaps.